catches them off guard, finds a couple of kills, and they're able to get it towards their advantage here. Davidov did show a kill field here, but it was not enough. It was just not enough. A full-on defuse able to stop things down, and a much-needed round, I would say, for Team Forsaken to get them back on the right track. But even if they want that, it looks so shaky.
Absolutely shaky. Not the best position to do so. Yes, it was as close as ever. Possibly not doing the 1-2-3 swing, but Tesor so committed to use it. But EB dodges, just TPs away over towards that lobby, expecting that they could double face on down, knowing that the showstopper did not connect on anybody. And yes, they still fall back over to the A main position since that long angle is not as secured as ever. They can still rotate on, keep themselves committed over to the A site, but if the smoke down, they're considering it. And a bit of presence made over to the B side, knowing that TV Dav has always been on the lurk and always a nuisance for the squad to sort through the smoke as well. Has to be careful, speaks on, gets one. Vic did not expect that at all. Goes back to safety, early 5 versus 4 and against all odds, Avermit was able to surprise him while he was also lurking around through the B side.
Big pick off there on towards Davidov. Meanwhile, Aim Hunter, he's the lurker. He's been playing around, hoping to find a side if he can. EB does have his ultimate though, if they want to fake things out or if he goes back. But boy, oh boy, is he in a load of trouble. There's a lot of players here and there, but they're going to continue pushing their buttons, hoping to see if they can get something out of it. But nonetheless, though, Forsaken, coming from a 0-4 difference, now you're 3-4? One round is all it takes to start changing things towards their favor. And another impressive thing I think I've noticed so far, once they get the ball rolling, it continues to go towards their momentum.
Yeah. And a big thing for them is fishing out DV Dov on the lurk too, because DV Dov has been one heck of a lurker. Always finding timings and reactions whenever the initial push doesn't work out. But when he gets picked off early, then his value diminishes by numbers. Going back onto the reliable 5-man push, Fraggers securing Mound as fast as like this. A triple face, another angle, Tesor and everybody from Team Forsaken almost like they expected DV Dov to lurk around B. Yet again, supporting down the lockdown too. Melpa was just that quick, always too wise. Actually put down the lockdown to the right place, knowing that they're forced to get the handle anyway, but the spike's still down, so the time is not on their side.
The Seekers are also out, checking on where they're going to be. Aim Hunter playing on his device, making it work so far, but he falls down into pieces. Averman from above, they have the sights on towards Casper. And boy, oh boy, did they deliver here on the side of Team Forsaken. Push them onto this tiny corner, hoping to get something out of it. Yes, Aim Hunter did quite a lot of damage, but could not connect his shots when it mattered the most. We are back on a 4-4. Even Stevens here.
Yeah. Not looking good for their economy too, because I'm noticing a few light shields from a few members from Fraggers. An operator buy. Definitely ambitious for Tesor, especially if he wants to invest it into this defending round, right? I mean, Raze is not the type of agent where you could normally expect that kind of agent to pick up the operator. Normally it could be Vic and his jet, but you don't have a jet. And Avermint is on the Omen, so not really the agent that you could pick the operator from. So Tesor just relied upon to get that early pick on, but the dash in again from Vic to make the space converted through over to the C site. Melpa expected, knowing where Vic is going to be coming from. He was spotted. He was trapped since the mollies were already giving a lot of time for Team Forsaken to position themselves for the post plant, but not even giving any room to breathe for Fraggers. But they still commit anyway. Push in from the Raze. Another spray transfer. Melpa's on one right now, as everybody from Team Forsaken followed through. But TV Dov still alive. He has crushed up things before, but Mize will lay down the double that they needed for Team Forsaken. The first time that the CT side has gotten the lead this time around.
I'm actually scratching my head here because I'm trying to figure out what's happening on the side of Fraggers. You do have a double duelist, but why is it that Vic is the only one jumping in and Aim Hunter is just standing on the back side of things, right? Normally, when you have mobility type of duelist, you push in towards the side together. At the same time, this is when you execute it with a flash coming from the Omen. You get the smokes done and laid out, and then you go for the flash. Not only that, you also have the Trailblazer to even scout information to the far right of things when you go towards the seaside. So I feel like they're not really playing at their best in terms of the utilities that they have. Rather, it's just Vic dashes in, and that's it. A couple of
Yeah.
smokes here and there, but you're not really making a proper play and entering towards the side. They have such a good, I guess, agent composition when it's their turn to attack, and
Yeah.
they're not playing it at its full potential.
Yeah, I think a big thing about that too is the type of agents that have been invested in the CT side, right? You got Milpa and Tesor plus Maz having almost like 2 or 3 mollies to be set up. A resettable molly for Tesor if he gets 2 kills. Milpa already set up his mollies pre-planned anyway. Maz also one of the agents that actually held up that seaside position, right? So right after Milpa triggers his own molly, Maz puts out another. So every time that Vic dashes in, Team Forsaken have made sure that the entry doesn't come up a funnel. Always leaving Vic on an island is showing that the space is not always given to him for free at all. The contact play has worked out for Fraggers this time around. They got A-main control up and ready. Early smoke up from EV over to the A-main position just to deny info and space from the Team Forsaken side, leaving Tinza and everybody else to play for the retake this time around. The A site is open. This is where Fraggers have to take advantage of this space.
It's their comfort side, I guess. This is the side where they've won, put a handful of their
this
victories. Meanwhile, Avermint from above, they're going to expect him. No, they are not. Vic falling down already. But that said, Avermint has been compromised. You know now where he's currently hiding on. Now it's all about how they're going to go for the retake here, Ramon.
Yeah. But the Maldi set up yet again, and Tenza is in a lot of trouble. Fired at his feet. Milpa tries to convert through, but TB Dub, right place yet again. Lockdown down, and a double again for the Sentinel. A 1v2, and Tesor, not the best gun operator, doesn't convert to EB. The flick does not work out. The quick scope was not quick enough. And EB to shut them down yet again, and Fraggers off of that contact play, finally not leaving DV Dov on an island, not letting Vic push all alone. They were playing as a unit. They were using every part of the utility to the fullest potential, finally realizing that DV Dov needed all the support, and he got it.
I just love the quick slide. It was such a smooth slide, by the way. I mean,
Yeah.
it was, not fast enough, but nonetheless, though, I feel like Fraggers understand that they've tried multiple times going towards C, and it has failed multiple times. It did not work out in their favor. Now let's go back going A, because this is the side that we're more comfortable pushing on towards, and it has worked in towards their favor. Danza, though, stuck in here. Milpa finds a kill towards Aim Hunter, but EB answers back. So the trade-offs are there. And A side again is up for the taking as Avermint gets the kill towards Casper, which is kind of big. Losing that flash player is scary. Same with the Soar. Finding EB. Numbers are down, but still somehow Fraggers are not giving up. Davidov being found out too. The Soar left alone onto the side, but not afraid. Pushes him with a jet blast pack and makes it work out in his favor.
Just always just making the most out of the situation that they were dealt with. Is even though they lost Tenza, who was trying to open the door for himself, trying to rotate back around towards that link position, that also gives the amount of time for the rotate to come around for Avermint, who again was isolated over that link position since Fraggers decided that they split up over to A main where the Jet was trying to hold that position for Avermint to take advantage fully from that operator too. Vic deciding to get that operator slows them down eventually, and well, not really the best causes, especially with the Soar handling his business himself. Triple kill from the Rays, 6-5 for Team Forsaken. Pretty reminiscent on how they started from that bind game, because if you remember, that first half was a 6-6 as well.
Yep, it was. This time around, though, they're not heavily defending towards the A side, so it's up for the taking if Team Forsaken plays it, but they're rather afraid. They're playing it slow. They're not, pushing in rather quickly. They're taking their sweet time before they actually go towards the setup here. But there will be no trade-offs. They're gonna be able to take it down, and the spike has been planted.
Yep. 5 versus 5 retake to start off, and what do you know? 4 ultimates online for Team Forsaken, so they're relying on that timing, knowing when to strike, but the timing has been given to them, especially with the friendly goes, getting shut down immediately. Milpa falls through, second frag from Milpa, and that's when they explode onto the side. Team Forsaken want to take the round, and they take it by force, but TV Dov's still alive. The Guardian Angel from the side of Team Forsaken has to get shut down. Another frag from TV Dov, but the spike gets sticked on. Milpa with a 3K. And they also got the defuse held down. Team Forsaken, they leave the half with the 7th round. And they got the spirits up in check. This is when the best case scenario comes in for their composition, because now they can rely on Tesor fired up and ready from that first half to take the space for the team now.
The battle of the killjoys. Davidov he didn't really want to aim on towards Milpa. He was aiming on the guy who was going for the defuse, but could not find the angle. Even tried a wall bang, but because of Milpa standing in between that, making sure that he's the one tanking onto the damage to make sure that they get that defuse up and running. And that's the reason why they're able to do that quite easily, quite smoothly. Now that we're going to be entering towards this half with it swap around. Let's see how well things will go to their favor as Vic dashes in aggressively here, Ramon.
Ooh, Aim Hunter starts off strong with 2, and well, the double duelist finally finding form where they need to. Second frag out again from Vic, and well, Milpa alone with the spray transfer back online yet again for EBS. It was another pistol round, flawless for the side of Fraggers, and it started with that rubble control. Well, again, just funneling utility on the same place where Team Forsaken never expected it. That early Viper wall just to deny info, plus you also got, well, a lot of layer of utility, right? Like the molly from Aim Hunter plus Vic to dash on into the rubble control, meaning that they had too many things to work around before they thought about fighting back.
I think it's to be expected when you have a double duelist. You can't play too defensively, you have to play aggressively, and it feels like a double-edged sword where it can work and it cannot work at the same time. And so far, it is doing wonders for them as Vic is able to find him out. But Milpa answers back, Mr. Consistent here, but will not win it out. He will falter because of the gun difference. Casper, though, will he continue the push or will he lay himself low? It seems like he's just going to hold the corners. Nonetheless, the damage has been done as they still have the advantage here.
Ooh, early paranoia. Almost like EB expected that since the sound cue is already giving themselves away. But as they open the door, what is behind it? TV Dov. Door number 1 to Sword, though. Shuts it down again. Sheriff in hand. Avermid with a second frag, and this is looking like the round just run up wide open. EB another, and he is so low that Avermid just needed one more frag. The second one for EB. The Spectre relied upon from the Omen. A 7-7 back online for Fraggers. They keep the guns. Yes, it is a very comfy buy, but well, they're coming into this round with sticks and stones now because they lost that bonus.
Yeah. I mean, it was a bonus that they did well on, but what to do, man? It is what it is. This time, when you're playing up against a single duelist, it's not that easy to be able to just enter. At the same time, you can see Fraggers playing rather aggressively, and they already kind of noticed that that is what it's coming on. So they decide to, you know what, let's not go again on towards the A side because we really have no answer towards that. Let's try to play around B and C. But the question is how are they going to do that? One-way smokes are there, heavily defense on towards the B side from the Killjoy. They have a good defense. They have a good hold with DV Dove being that anchor that they need here for the side of Team Fraggers.
Early Outlaw, very known upon over to the C site, and well, they also smoke out that one choke point. Interesting that they put that one down since they don't really want to take control of that waterfall position. They also got a lot of time to make a decision right here and now, leaving the rubble position to the Jet just to funnel everybody over at that C and B site. Tenza waiting for the call to take the C site right here and now. DB Dov, first kill found. Outlaw in, another out for EB as well. Paranoia set up over to the layers upon through the smoke as well. DB Dov, second frag yet again, and the 1v3 commences for Maz, but as he pushes, he meets DB Dobbs' ghost. A triple from the Sentinel. It is all business for the side of Fraggers as they held on to their guns and they defend the C site with force.
It goes to show what happens when you only have one mobility duelist to just enter in, right? He's the only one who can even go inside the site, and when that was done, they had a way to slow down. Like you said, it makes it hard to really funnel in when you have a killjoy, and that's what happened there. Davidov had his swarm. The moment that the duelist came in, he was just left alone. He couldn't do anything. And it's just easy pickings coming from the side of Team Fraggers here. And yet again, they are stuck at a sunstill. They don't really know what they have to do to be able to just enter towards the side. Maybe destroy the swarms, but Davidov, he's playing it smart on how he's setting things up for himself.
Yeah. Sometimes the mollies and the utility just enough. Not needing the guns to make the answers for themselves. The entry on and DB Dav. Yes, cool, calm, and collected. Always the guy to watch out for in these fights. Aim Hunter, almost with 3, but it is Tenza. Run and gun. The stinger in hand, just making a lot of quick work. Ma is blinded off the face of the earth. Casper recovers the spray on towards Tenza. Beautifully done from Vic. 9-7. And Fraggers capitalizing on the better guns yet again. They keep most of it towards the next round, and they had a stellar defense towards Team Forsaken's attempt.
Will history repeat itself? It's happening again, Ramon. This is the exact same story that we're seeing from map number 1. A very close first half, comes back to the second half. Fragger is gonna get a good set of rounds. Forsaken goes for a timeout, and then they get their set of rounds themselves and going for an even close match. But the question is, will it follow the same script, or will it go in the side of Team Forsaken? Now, it's just only a matter of time here, because honestly, Team Forsaken have been struggling trying to enter the side. For 4 rounds, they have tried, let's go A, and they get killed immediately by the double duelist. And then they tried, okay, if we can't go A, let's go C. And then it didn't work out just because of how Davidov has been playing excellent with EB. You work around each other with their positioning, with their crossfires, with their one-way smokes. I am struggling to see the light at the end of the tunnel for Team Forsaken.
Yeah. Especially since it has been the 4th round in a row that Fraggers have resurged, or at least reached upon for themselves into this next coming by. So now, Operator invested for DB Dov, just channeling his inner chamber, but not even noticing the Omen that TP'd up on top, dashing in. It's another for the side of Team Forsaken. They get 3 off the back of the C-site push, and investing EB, never expecting Tenza to win the fight anyways. 1v4 now. And this was a quick conversion from the timeout too, because if you remember before this, Team Forsaken needed a minute to think about what they want to do.
I love the execution that they have here. Realizes, you know what, guys, every time we play slow, it doesn't really go to our favor. Let's just play quick and easy with our execution, and then maybe we will have a glimmer of chance. And they did. They got so much kills out of that to the point that they are back in the game. Only 1 round difference anyway.
One more round. I do reach up against Team Forsaken, and well, they're not joking at all at this point in time, because if you remember, Avermit was always at the right place. Double kill back, in fact, for the Omen. Will be interesting on how he uses that from the shadows, right? But I'm looking at the sword and how he uses that ultimate. Showstopper back online for the raise it again, and leaving DB Dav on an island for Fraggers has always been a huge investment for the squad. See that double face-up yet again from the Omen as well as the Killjoy, just to see if they can get themselves a secure C-site defense. Already putting the door down, put pressure on both sides of the map. Vic on an island to hold up with that long angle. Guardian might be enough for him, but against 5 people thinking about walking towards that A side push. I mean,
Vic.
definitely up for the challenge. And with that wall up, that definitely supports the cause yet again.
Do they know? I don't think they do. They're gonna get 2 kills though. Yes, to get the kill towards Vic, but he is slowing you guys down as Vic finds 2 Tenza. What can they do? They already have the information we're gonna be at. And not only that, I love the fact that they're still anchoring B and C, just understanding that Omen could use his ultimate to teleport. Meanwhile, Aim Hunter has a showstopper. Will it work out in his favor? He finds a kill, finds a finisher. This could be the nail in the coffin if they're able to find more here. With the heals, Evermint, like you said, right time at the right moment, but Casper answers back. The spray controls is there. 1v3, Milpa's left alone to his own device. As Casper says, bye-bye, señorito.
Bye-bye, kapatid. My brother in arms, Fraggers. The 10-8 to actually get the second half conversion. That was one heck of a defense over at that A site push. Because, again, I wanted to challenge Vic, and he has been performing above expectations. Holding that A site long angle just with that Guardian, and well, he actually passed with flying colors. 2 kills, in fact, yes. And now investing in that operator too, so an ambitious buy out for the young Jet player. Well, that one way, interestingly, doesn't really force on the mark. So Maz using this to his own devices, just thinking that somebody's gonna push on, but for the past few rounds, Vic has been alone. Hold up on that rubble position. One onto Maz. Quickly priming up the dash. Dashes in towards the angle, but Tesor pushes with the paint shell online. The operator is available. Towards the side of Team Forsaken now, but how did they use this? Casper held up.
Not checking.
Not checked yet. Almost a lineup. 1, not 2. Tenza jumping up and down, dodging, weaving, just to get themselves the conversion. 3 versus 2, forcing EB and the Killjoy to play to their own 3v2.
That was looking really, really good for Casper, but could not convert. Now the lockdowns are up and running. Gonna try to push them as much as possible. EB is able to find that kill. But how long will it take before they're able to find the remaining set of players here? As I believe they're not going to be able to find a lockdown, but Davidov spots them out, has a smoke, swarms currently being placed if they can. Yes, you have the information, but how are they going to get the answer to this? They're stuck in a corner. They're not pushing. They're playing it smart. They're playing it slow. Half currently diffused. They're not going for the shot. Holding it still. But Davidov could not convert it to a kill as Milpa, again, the savior of this team. 9-10. Very close.
Yeah. I mean, Milpa has definitely carried through this round, but Tenza was the huge difference maker when they pushed on to the 3 position, and he was trying to cross on back to the side. I was convinced that he was the second frag towards that 3 defense, but against all odds, he jumped. And as he jumped, he got the shot anyway, so that's just Valorant as a whole, man. Like, precision as a whole for this guy. Trying to come on down for Team Forsaken. 9-10, 1-round game for both teams. One more to reach upon. Fraggers in their lead. Try to respond back with a double push shot from that mound position, and well, Team Forsaken decide that they will take this as slowly and calmly towards that
Fraggers,
ace side,
bro,
but Vic, almost spots one, and that's one over to Maz. Still up and online with a Blade Storm, and decides that he has to go back, but Milpa will punish him, but doesn't know that there's at least one holding the cross angle.
Davidov is gonna go for the peak now. I don't think he's gonna be able to spot anybody because they're pushing towards the A side as of the moment. Casper currently there with, I believe, Aim Hunter. So Seekers are currently out. Information will be given. It's gonna be the A hit here. Either you give it and go for the retake, or you hold it and hope for the best. Meal behind them. Davidov gets a freebie. Not what Team Forsaken wants to be in. And now they're stuck in a corner where they do not want to be in. As Aim Hunter finds the answer. Milpa. It was looking good for Team Forsaken. Now it's just looking horrible. He's stuck, he's pincered, he's sandwiched. And they're up for the snack. They're gonna eat him wide open. Unless Milpa has something to say, but nope. Gets denied. 9-11 here. And Fraggers taking in control of the driver's seat.
Yeah. Almost like they never expected DV Dob to be a second guy to flank around after the attempt from Vic. And well, attempt no longer, because that was also a very fruitful attempt, because he got that one frag that was very, very convincingly something that slowed them down. Anyways, you saw their hesitation after they noted the positioning from Fraggers and their flank. One of the controllers destroyed Deltapon, and when DP Dob followed through onto Avermit, that was when it all crumbled down. Held up, pinched onto that rubble position, not even getting A main control anymore. Spotted again by the Haunt, and well, that's when they decide that maybe A is not the best call. Possibly the double push out again from Team Forsaken might not be the best case scenario anymore, so Fraggers already held up on both fronts. C, A, and B side already not free for the taking for the side of Team Forsaken. They even invest the Molly, and well, Aim Hunters ready for a fight.
Kick from behind. Oh, he got spotted out immediately to Soar. Spidey senses were tingling. He kind of felt like, this has happened before. It's gonna happen again. Meanwhile, though, EB is getting the kill to Milpa, which, by the way, Milpa has always been
Casper.
an anchor. And Casper, like you said, he's hiding on the corner. They're not checking, but he gets spotted out. He's gonna get finished off here with a showstopper. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Gonna hurt a lot. As Stensa Everman finally their set of kills here. Vivid Dov, the anchor of the team, still winnable on a 1v2 here, Ramon. Could still be possible. He was able to find it! And he does! The timing! It works out! Vivid Dov shuts him off!
He was convinced. He knew that after he uses the Omen ult, that nobody is around that rubble position, so he runs and he guns over to the last two. Unlucky, because the TP was where the other teammate from Team Forsaken also ran towards. That was unlucky. But fortune favors the bold. Fraggers relied upon on DV Dov. Match point now secured for the side of the defense. Vic, full confidence in himself to hold that rubble position now that he has support. And well, that crouch peek is what's the start and possibly the end for everybody on Team Forsaken. This is where the 3v5 starts on. Showstopper online. Aim Hunter doesn't connect. The Stingers possibly deemed damage, but Vic winning the gunfight anyways. Casper and EB
No
get
way.
all the conversions through. And in that 2-0 score, Fraggers head on to the grand finals.
What a way to end things here for the side of Fraggers. I feel like they had a good way of holding towards A Rubble where there was no contestation coming for Team Forsaken. They always struggled just trying to enter in or to even take a standstill, or other than that, taking it into control. It felt so dominant on how Fraggers were doing, and towards the second half, the Team Forsaken, they tried going to C, they tried going to B. It never worked out, Ramon. It never did. You were never able to find a inkling onto the second half. It felt like Fraggers. Being able to play as aggressive as they want, being able to find the flanks, find those kills. The struggle was indeed so real, and kudos to them. They're gonna be going on towards the grand finals. But lucky to say for Team Forsaken, even if they did lose this one out in this best of 3, they still have an opportunity to be part of the third placer decider here in the 404 Esports Dubai Police Esports Tournament Ramadan edition.
Yeah, so not everybody comes up as a loser in this sort of tournament. So this format has been, blessed for us, everybody, because now everybody has a chance to come up with, the most amount of wins, or the most amount of money that they can come up here with the prize pool that we have for this tournament as a whole. Just to remind everybody, it is a 30,000 AED prize pool. So everybody coming up with a lion's share of 15, I believe, just to get themselves the conversion. So if they are able to win out the grand finals, that will be one heck of a lion's share. So it's gonna be one heck of a banger. But now that we have one of our names solidified for that grand final spot, Fraggers are gonna have one heck of a deal, because now in this second best of 3, that is where all the power comes up online for Team OU as well as WKNK. Very quickly before we head on into the break, JT, what is your prediction for this best of 3?
OU seeing the grand finals, defending champions, they gotta show up. They have
Yep.
to. I would love to see it.
Would love that. If that will be the case for Oyun, we will find out after this short break. We'll be sending it off to Tucker as well as Vincent for this one. We will be seeing you all guys tomorrow for the grand finals. Don't go anywhere because we have a lot more best of 3 later on today for the Dubai Police Esports Tournament.
Ganja smoking, we got rum in me cup. Bad gals wind up on the dance floor. All the gals wind up on the dance floor.
Waste the time.
right here standing by your side. Open up your heart and let me in. I promise not to break you. I promise I'll be all that you want. So let me in my heart before. Let me in. Oh, your love explodes. Our hearts implodes. Your love explodes. Our hearts implode. Ganja smoking, they got rum in me cup. Bad gals wind up on the dance floor. Other gals wind up on the dance floor. At first I sent the link and she was petrified. Kept thinking she would be a victim of my scam and lies.
But then I read a few lines and the grammar was all wrong. The hunch grew strong. He was trying to scam me all along, so I blocked his hack and reported the fraud.
Oh, she even blocked my number and my phone calls from abroad.
They'll try to tempt you with rewards and a fake prize.
You shouldn't crumble. You should report these shady guys.
Oh no, not I will survive for as long as I report the fraud.
I know they won't survive.
I've got great advice to give.
Reporting is imperative.
They won't survive.
I won't survive. Scammers these days have a no new trend. It's a call from the police, but it's all pretend.
And you'll regret it later if you don't report the call.
But that's not all. They'll get all your details, they'll have it all. So take their advice and report our lies.
Just call now and give these guys a rude surprise.
I've got great advice to give. Reporting is imperative.
I will survive. I will survive. Hey, hey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dubai Police Valorant Tournament Ramadan Edition. I'm Tucker Haynes, joined by Vincent. We got one more matchup for the day, and boy, oh boy, is it a big one. Oyun versus WK and the winner gets a berth in the grand finals.
That they do. I mean, we already had a fantastic semifinal matchup where we got to see one team go through. Now we get to see who joins them, and I couldn't be more excited to actually get to see Oyun once again, who we got to cover, you and I, yesterday as well. We've actually seen a bunch of them on stream, but we'll get into all of that information, all of that action here soon enough. I'm pumped to be here, though, ready to get started with the second semifinal.
That's going to be an absolute banger. WKNK, they have had no shortness of domination throughout the bracket. Of course, the first round that they played was round 2. They 13-0'd their opponent, then 2-0'd Piff the Path in the last round. And now they go up against what is, in my opinion, the Titans of the tournament. Oyun have been playing an incredible tournament throughout the weekend. I got a feeling it's only going to stay that way because they have been great. All they got to do is do it one more time, and they have a date with Destiny against Fraggers in the Grands.
Hey, to be fair, listen, Fraggers has also been kind of rolling through opponents left, right, and center. So I think Fraggers might have something to say about that destiny, though. With that being said, I think it's fair to say that Oyun, despite some maybe shakiness towards the end of the day yesterday, as a whole, they have indeed been dominating. I mean, it is 2-0 that they got over UFC. It was Lotus that got a bit dicey. But coming into the semifinals, they've had a little bit of time to rest up. That was towards the end of a pretty long day, might I add. So things could have gotten a little bit wild when it comes to that. But if we take a peek at some of these stat lines, it's been decent for Oyun, but it's not been perfect.
It has not. And sure, they were perfect on the maps yesterday. Rather in the last round in that best of 3 against UFC, but we cannot forget, you were just briefly pointing it out, that they had a 10-2 lead going into halftime, and they managed to let that slip all the way into OT. They were able to put it away, put it to bed before things got too bad. It was 14-12, but going into halftime with that one-sided of a lead, you definitely want to put that map away a little bit sooner because things could have gone terribly, terribly wrong.
That they could have, but up against a team like WKNK, I don't think that if they were to make a mistake, allow that to happen once again, I don't think that they'd walk away with the victory like they did yesterday. It was a fortunate situation that they were able to close it out in overtime, but the fact that it got there, certainly dicey. And so this WK roster, I think they've been proving consistently throughout this tournament that they are one to watch. And so we're going to get the chance to take a peek at them. We've seen a lot of Oyun on stream, and to be fair, I think that kind of biases you and I just a little bit, but I think WKNK are coming into this matchup ready to prove exactly what they've got and show that this win rate, for example, is nothing to be turning your nose up at. It's absolutely something to be respected. And so I'm excited to see what they have to offer, especially when you consider how much have we seen of this Oyun team.
Matt's just a little bit. I gotta say, I feel like this has to favor Oyun because the first map we go to is going to be Ascent, the second one Lotus, and the third one Decider, if we need it, is Sunset. The guaranteed maps are maps that Oyun has played on, and they looked fantastic on them. Of course, we were talking about Oyun nearly blowing that 10-2 lead, but to blow a lead that big, you have to get a lead that big. And to get a lead that big shows that you know at least a little bit about what you're doing. So I got a feeling that the map picks have got to favor Oyun. I haven't seen too much of WKNK, unfortunately. They have been playing really, really good, but this might be where that bias kind of plays in because we saw what Oyun was able to do on the first 2 maps. Unfortunately, WKNK has not caught our eye just yet, has not seen on broadcast from us specifically.
Exactly. And just to kind of reiterate things, this is the same 2 vetoes that Oyun did yesterday, banned out Bind, and then they also banned out Breeze. And like you mentioned, with Ascent, their third time that we'll be seeing Ascent from Oyun on stream. Definitely, it gives you confidence from them. But let's just do some. Let me do some defending here for WKNK though, because the reality is that everybody has played Ascent. Everybody kind of knows what to expect, generally speaking, on this map. And so, yeah, we've seen it a little bit more from Oyun, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. And I think that Oyun definitely were bleeding when it came to that first map. It wasn't exactly a walk in the woods for the scoreline. It was 13-9 up against UFC. So they are a team that certainly has shown out strong, but I think that it's also been clear that they have some weaknesses there. And we know what those weaknesses looks like on Lotus. It's actually interesting though that Sunset, a map we've yet to see with regard to this Oyun team being our decider, though at the moment, neither of these squads have dropped a map, so will we even need that?
Yeah, it's hard to say because whenever you have a team or two teams that are at this caliber and they have not lost a map just yet, it's safe to say that, oh, well, both of these teams have not lost a map yet. They're both really good. This is going to be a good match, going to go all the way to 3. That's not always the case. Just because you haven't lost a map yet does not mean the other team is better, or vice versa, that you're better than the other team. And of course, yesterday I made a prediction that UFC was going to take it to 3 maps. They did not, so that's my L. I'm not going to make a prediction. I'm going to abstain this time. But I think we are going to be in for a good match. I'm not going to say if we're going to go to 3, if we're going to go to 2. All I am going to say, though, is I think we're going to see 2 really close games or 3 really close games if we do indeed see that sunset.
I mean, I think it's fair to kind of have the expectation that these squads will be keeping it close. But, just to talk about some individuals real fast, we did see Oyun really kind of step up to the plate when it came to their performances yesterday. There was a couple of players to talk about. I mean, Sigmund is the one that immediately comes to mind. We've seen this guy perform every single time he's been on stream, and it's been in that duelist role. Again, your expectation when you see a duelist is that they're going to be in a high fragging role, not necessarily having to carry, but certainly to set the tone and create space on the attacking side. Not to mention, talk about the operator. Sigmund was a guy to discuss when it came to that. So eyes out for that thing, that type of individual play, as well as Mind, who I think is maybe less of a question mark, right? He was so consistent as well yesterday.
For sure. When it came down to Mind, they could really do it all. Unfortunately, when you run into a duelist player like Sigmund, who is incredibly talented and incredibly mechanically gifted, don't get me wrong, they can fall into the role of a one-trick pony at times, but Mind typically was on a support player. I think we saw them on, I want to say an Omen on Ascent, and then maybe an Initiator on Lotus. But whether the agents are what's the word? Whether the agents are consistent from today, same with yesterday, we're going to see Mind be incredibly consistent. That is a no-brainer. Unless they have something incredibly detrimental go wrong, we are going to see a very good game from Mind because they don't like to really play that duelist spot, and they really like to take the back seat and let Sigmund really take those entry frags. But if you put Mind in a situation where he needs to step up, he will, no questions asked.
I mean, that was the storyline from yesterday. Is if there was anybody to make the mark on the server when it was most required, it was, I think, Mind to do that. And I think what was even more impressive is the varying different agents and roles that we saw them on. You mentioned the fact that we were looking towards a controller in the Omen initially, and then that swapped over to a Gecko, which I think both of us were quite enjoying to watch that on Lotus for map number 2. All of that culminating in that 2-0 victory. And with a question now about the WKNK team, what they have to offer and exactly where they're going to be showing up. Going back to that same map pool that we saw yesterday, I think that you and I are both in the same boat when it's like, I mean, how do you not just expect Oyun to do what they did before? I don't see a world where they don't, but it's a world of unknowns.
It really is. And the deeper you get into the bracket, the more unknown it gets because we are getting to teams that have not played each other just yet. So it gets so much harder to call it. You want to go with your instinct. You want to go with what has historically been the case. And historically, OUN has dominated every step of the way. Ascent was theirs. Despite getting off to a 0-5 start, they were still able to come back and put up a pretty hard fight. And then same thing with Lotus. They got up to a 10-2 lead at the half. That's a really good spot to be in. And unfortunately, WKNK has just not had enough eyes on them to really get a good prediction. So it's hard to say, okay, well, I think WKNK is going to do better or they're going to do a little worse. I think they're going to be able to out-frag OUN. I think they're going to be able to out-utilize. But it's hard to call that because we have not seen too much of them yet again. OUN, though, has been front and center pretty much the entire tournament. Same with Fraggers, which is in the grand finals already. So there might be a bit of a storyline leading up to the end of this tournament.
Yeah, it does seem like the seeding has been doing its job. I mean, there's been two clear front runners when it comes to who we've seen on stream, with Fraggers on the upper side of this bracket and has been very strong. It's been a lot of fun to kind of watch and see what those guys have been made of. And then, like we've been talking about on the other side down here on the backside of the bracket, it's OUN who has been taking that front and center. But I do think that, respect where it's due for WKNK. They've made the exact same run. They've done the exact same things with regard to not dropping maps. They've played up to the level, and it's not even been particularly close in a lot of those scenarios. I think that they deserve that credit as well. We just haven't gotten to see them. Like you said, it's a matter of eyes on, and we haven't seen those eyes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But now I have a question that I want to ask you. Of course, for the first time we saw Ascent on broadcast yesterday when it was OUN versus UFC, OUN kept it plain. They played cool. They didn't really change anything from what the meta is. Meanwhile, UFC, they brought out a bit less of a default pick and a bit more of an abstract pick in the get-go. Do you think that's going to be the same as it was yesterday? Do you think OUN's going to play the same that they have been playing for probably the last 6 months and WKNK brings out a little more abstract pick, or do you think we're going to see both meta picks?
I think that it works well. So I think we're going to continue, especially for that Lotus, see probably a very similar setup, considering the effectiveness that we saw yesterday. I think it would be kind of crazy to speculate on what we're going to see for WKNK, just because, like we've been talking about, we haven't gotten to see them. But yeah, as much as we were talking about that yesterday and kind of what the meta looks like, we'll just wait and see. And we're unfortunately going to have to do a little bit more waiting for the moment as well, because we've got to head to a short break whilst we get the lobby ready and good to go. So we'll see you here in just a couple of minutes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dubai Police Esports Tournament, Valorant Edition and Ramadan Edition. It's still Tucker Haynes and Vincent in the booth, and we still have our matchup yet to be played with, of course, Oyun versus WKNK in a best of 3. Bit of technical difficulties, but we have hopefully pushed past that, and we should be ready to get going as soon as possible.
Yeah, just a quick TLDR. If you are just joining us and maybe didn't hear where we were at previously, both these squads coming into the semifinals have been looking really strong. It's an undefeated matchup in the tournament. Both teams have yet to drop a single map, which is incredibly impressive. But we're looking at an Oyun team that we've kind of had the opportunity to become favorites when it comes to how often they've been on stream. We've been getting a chance to watch them as they go through, which means we've gotten a chance to see a lot of what they have to offer, whereas WKNK haven't had that same opportunity. They jump into this with a pretty much a relative unknown, I think, to you and I, but obviously coming in and improving themselves throughout the rest of this tournament already. We're jumping into map number 1. That's Ascent, and that's what this agent selection that you see on your screen right now is going to be for.
Ascent, and we were talking about it briefly before the break, how Oyun played very by the book, and their opponent's UFC actually deviated a bit from the meta, choosing a Gecko, and it worked out good. It wasn't great, but it was definitely competitive. Maybe we might see the meta switch into more of a Gecko-heavy composition in a couple of months or two if he gets like a buff, but at the moment, he was good, not great. This time, though, I see just 10 whole meta picks, pretty much completely mirrored. We got a duelist, we got 2 initiators, controller, and sentinel. I mean, it's the same on both ways, except for the double duelist on the WKNK side. So instead of 2 duelists, instead of 2 initiators and then 1 of everything else, it's 2 duelists, 1 of everything else.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Double Duelist has been a little bit more popular as of recently. I think especially if you have the firepower, like the individuals that can really take advantage of it, it can be well worth it to go that direction, and even beyond that. I do think it's interesting to see the Cypher as opposed to the Killjoy. That's another big difference where WKNK have gone for a more traditional Killjoy composition, whereas Not Flick has the Cypher locked and loaded here for Oyun. All of that is a little bit interesting. I also think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm just going to go back. I'm pretty sure that in that little break, WKNK, there's a different player in than was previously. I'm not sure what that's all about, but maybe somebody had to go. Maybe they had a sub. I have no idea, but that does spice things up just a little bit.
A little bit. I don't know how much of a difference it's going to be, like too big, but I bet it shouldn't affect the game too much. But we'll just have to see as we try to load into this Ascent game. So I was actually doing a little bit of looking, and this was the quarterfinal from the Dubai Police Esports Tournament 2023, December 12th, WKNK versus Oyun. WKNK swept Oyun 2-0, 13-9 on Lotus and 13-6 on Bind, which is a little bit different. They don't have the same players as they do this time, but just a bit of history for you, a little bit of trivia as well.
Yeah, that was I mean I mentioned yesterday as well.
Weren't you there for that?
Yeah, was seeing the Oyun team though, like you're saying, not at all the same roster. I think there's only 2 players still the same for WKNK as well. This was 4 months ago at this point,
Yeah.
so it's been a little while. But it looks like we are jumping right into the game, and we can get this thing started. So honestly, all up in the air at this point. We've speculated enough. And we can jump into the action, or maybe not. We've just got to pause. So I may have just cast or cursed us.
That's okay. That's okay. So it looks like Flick did not connect, which is unfortunate, but unfortunately there's not much we can do. Hey, the double unfortunate in the sentence. Hopefully we can get him in as soon as possible. We want to get this underway. We don't want to keep y'all waiting for longer than we have to. But I mean, Ascent. I want to say this is the same exact composition that OU brought yesterday against UFC. I'm not 100% sure, but it's definitely very similar.
I think it is the same. I'm not certain, like you say, but I do remember seeing the cipher come through, if I'm not mistaken. So regardless, I'm curious about this double duelist, especially. I'm like I was mentioning, think it's totally reasonable and can be very effective. It just kind of depends on what sort of individual players you have. Based on what I was just reading, by the way, it looks like somebody is just still loading in. So whatever it should be a matter of time is the hope. But yeah, I think the double duelist makes a lot of sense, and especially if you have these individuals who can just have these pop up moments, then it's absolutely well worth it to put the best tools in their hands to succeed.
I definitely agree. I have my worries with the double duelist just because it is a little bit more quote unquote aggressive. It's not that it is more aggressive in nature, it's just that it's a little more frontward, a little more forward as for the initiator. It's a little bit more intel based, that way you can get a little bit more information on what your opponent has. I think WKNK is going to get a little bit better luck on their attacking half, considering they have a little bit more aggression. When you're on defense, you kind of want that initiation. That way you can get as much information as possible before you have to really use your gun and use your weaponry. So honestly, we are starting on both sides' weaker half, considering that Oyun has double initiator, which if you're going double duelist, you definitely want to favor your attack. But also, in the last match that they played on Ascent, Oyun had a really good time throughout their attacking round, so I might be completely wrong.
Yeah, it was a little bit wild yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oyun put together a fantastic attack side on Ascent, then they swap over and dominate the defensive side of Lotus, only to fall flat on their face and lose 10-2 on their attack side of Lotus. It was just a little bit crazy, a little bit wild, and I don't. It kind of leaves me with a question of expectations. Like there's no through line there, nothing to hang your hat on, nothing to particularly be interested in either. So with that, I mean, unfortunately, I think we're gonna have a couple more minutes here as we wait on everybody to get going.
Yeah, technical difficulties have been not so few and far between, unfortunately. But I went on a spiel yesterday about this. Like, tech issues are a thing of esports. They are a very bad thing, but they are a thing in esports. They will always be a thing. They always have been a thing. And there's not much you can do. But I think I saw in the chat that they're talking about a bit of a PC change. So hopefully that fixes things and we can get this train back on its tracks as soon as possible. And we don't have to wait any longer than we have to. But at the moment, we don't really have any answers for you.
Yeah, unfortunately, because of that, though, I think we're going to head to another short break. Apologies for making you wait, but with that potential PC change, it will be a couple minutes here. So thank you so much for your patience and for continuing to tune in. We're going to take a short break here, and when we come back, we'll jump right into that action.
Just like that, we are back with the Dubai Police Valorant Tournament Ramadan Edition. We are finally getting back into Ascent. We had a bit of a PC change, flipped it out. We should be good to go. Hopefully this PC works better and we can get on into it. If you're just now tuning in, this is OUN versus WKNK in the semifinals, meaning the winner goes on to the grand finals and the loser will have to fight their way for third place rather. And yeah, we had a bit of we have had several conversations about the composition, and honestly, we have run into just the same thing that we saw yesterday for OUN. This is a very same composition. We haven't seen much of WKNK, but I mean, this is two very new, very meta picks, so I have high hopes for both of these teams.
Same here, and as we look towards what may be a more asymmetric approach to this this first round, is the attack side shapes up with the majority of their players over towards A, taking a peek out towards mid as well, but I think being a bit tentative at first, WKNK going to take some space. That's vague over at the B site, seeing nothing in main. Continue to push forward, though, as OUN find themselves an opening pick. Though traded, they'll have the A site mostly under their command. One exception.
Exception of Dutch. Nice solid, gets a little close, and the Classics, a little better free gun, by the way. With the shot, headshot, the Mind wins out the Omen battle, and A site pretty much controlled by OUN. All they got to do is find a way to get that spike planted down. As in comes the drop, there's one kill from Azkumi. In comes the trade, though, for Vague. And they look to find another one, and they can't quite get it. Mazkumi ends it out, and OUN take this pistol with 2 men to spare.
Well played, and the trades there, even though they didn't end up checking the back of the site initially, that's okay. As long as they can get swiftly into those trade frags, which they do, then everything will be okay. And Mazkumi, who I think, not a player we talked about necessarily when it was, who we were watching for this matchup. I think Mazkumi what really impressed me about them is how consistent they were, right? You rarely saw Mazkumi making mistakes. It wasn't like they were carrying or anything, but never were they getting outmaneuvered.
No. They kept their head on a swivel, and they kept a level head really good throughout the entire day yesterday. And if they can do that again, it would be absolutely beautiful. As the attack looks very spread out, Oyun looks to go up 2-0. An incredibly default push from them, which I love to see, not taking it too quick or too slow on this anti-eco.
You don't want to get too far forward because, it can allow you to walk into potential stacks. You can, if you don't take your time to clear some angles, you can walk into that free gun, by the way, that you mentioned. A little right click to the skull doesn't feel too good. Or, in this case, it's Dutch, who's hanging out at Wine. And about to have a couple of players to shoot at with this Sheriff, but it's actually gotten out of that area. A rotation back instead for Oyun to the B site.
Site has a very one-sided attack on it, considering that Toon is the only one that can deny access from the site. The Jet looks to run in. Koji is stranded in Boathouse, and this does not look very good for the defense as down goes Vague with the Outlaw. Koji's a little bit better with it. There's a double kill for them, but then they finally go down. Same with Falcon as well as Dutch. And Flick will plant this out. Oyun with another very convincing round.
That one, you're up against pistols, so you would expect it to be convincing, but it's a matter of just ensuring that nothing goes too wrong, nothing goes crazy, and that is what happens for Oyun. Loving to see what they have to offer, but now it's time for WKNK to get in business. They got rifles back in their hands, and I want to see, especially with this double duelist, Tucker, I want to see if they get into some sort of aggressive position, take some space, and it looks like both the duelists are over towards A.
That they are chilling out, playing a much more one-sided approach to this defense, and I think they know exactly what Oyun wants to do. But the question is, do you actually? You might think you do, but do you actually? At the moment, it looks like they actually do because it is a favoring A attack for the Oyun offense. A couple of whiffs come out, but they are able to take down Falcon. Close range, Dutch grabs one, but not enough to get the second, and Mazkumi takes one on the other side of the map. It's yet again another unequal fight going into this post plant favoring Oyun. It has to be Toon, and it has to be that KJ to get this out.
And it's on a bonus as well, so the lesser weaponry finding the victory thus far. Pretty good crossfire set. Sigmund up top on a high-low angle. They're going to swing on contact here with Sigmund, but Sigmund gets felled, and actually the swing doesn't come in, so a little bit of a mistake there. Coming through, Mazkumi, not Flick. Flick gets a chance at the first shot. As they drop, Mazkumi will deliver.
There it is. There's what we were talking about. Mazkumi is rarely flashy, but they're always there when you need them to be. That is the Oyun style of play. Of course, you have Sigmund, who is incredibly flashy as a player, but you also got guys like Mind and Mazkumi who are there. They are the rocks, and by goodness, you might as well give them the diamond roll because pressure makes diamonds, and I don't see any coal in sight.
And unfortunately, this puts WKNK on the back foot for sure. They've got a little bit of extra cash in the back pocket as the loss bonus starts to accrue, but it's still not great. It's still pistols and Vague. The first time getting a forward position out towards A. I was thinking about doing this previously, but ended up meeting a boatload of players instead. And it's similar story as the previous anti-eco round for Oyun. Look at how passive their approach is. The spike, it's not even in anyone's hands. Vague, though, take a first shot. Toon gets away with another. Vague's coming back. Gotta get these shots, and nobody's connecting for Oyun.
No, the Sheriff just might be better. 1 versus 4. This is likely an L for OU in the first one of the map. And there it is, the big thrifty badge. Toon stepping up in a big, big way for WKNK. There we see them finally on the board. OU playing a little bit too hot-headed, and they get kicked for it.
I don't even know if they were being too hot-headed. It genuinely just felt like, just a little bit of a space for Vague to work. That turns into a first frag, and nice little bait angle, allowing Toon the first kill, and then he just continues to connect.
Round 5 coming up. Oh. Bad look. Bad look. 4 versus 3 already, and this is starting to look really dicey for Oyun.
And certainly in this round, not looking good. Blades have been activated. Not even necessary, though, to be honest, as man advantage still firmly in the hands of WKNK. Escape is possible with the Shrouded Step. With that, the Roomba will at least collect a little bit more information that Mind is still hanging out in B main. But nonetheless, rotations are occurring. Spreading back out are the defense of WKNK. And so Oyun, if they play their cards right, they do still have a reasonable chance at this round with 45 seconds left.
Sure, considering how Omen and the Rays are pretty stretched out, they've got a pretty good chance if they can get this timing right and they can land their shots. As if that Cyber Cage goes up when they try to push, it should be wrapped, but no, they decide to go back. They want to double dip, Vincent. They want to try their hand at B main. There's only 23 seconds to go. They have to go now.
Out of the wire. Vague down to the headshot. It's going to get the first. Blades will get both of the final members. It's 4 for Vague. And there's that Jet, that duelist that we were talking about, asking the questions. It's absolutely fantastic if you can pull off the double duelist. Well, they have the duelist to do it.
They absolutely did. And looky at the economy of Oyun. It's starting to dwindle a little bit. They have enough to get a somewhat competitive buy throughout this round, but I mean, they've only got 1 Vandal. They have a Guardian to support, and then the rest are not great. The Sheriff is okay. The Stinger is good in close range, but unless you can get these into these situations, you're probably going to struggle.
Well, they're not being very shy about this engagement. Up through market is Sigmund, who's going to go down. The Blades ineffective at that moment. Vague grab another one. Adjustment from Koji. There's still much to play for here. It's not Flick. We'll grab one back. It's still up to 1 member. That's Mizkumi. Trying to deliver to 1v1 in this map, but this one's going to be too much to ask. Vague another triple kill and walking away with a 3K off the back of his 4K last round.
It was unfortunate for that little Silva. They had the paint shells going. They didn't have any way to get away. So whether it was the paint shells that got it or the Jet that got it, it was going to be a 1 round for WKNK either way. But now they are completely tied up. Hopefully for Oyun, they can come off of that eco round and maybe turn this into another dub, because they were, of course, ecoing that last round. They didn't have as good of stuff, and they got a couple of kills for it as well. So not all is lost off of that last round. Of course, you would have wanted to get a dub off of it and extend your lead, but that's not the case, and you cannot change the past.
Can change the future, and the future's looking bright here for WKNK, though maybe that bright spot has been darkened just a little bit via the dark cover. Mind able to grab 2 kills on the ingress. Aggression denied for the defense. Kumi will get the spike down, and this post plant is, I mean, it's not done, but you're gonna have to maybe invest some utility, some of these ultimates if they want to get back into it.
Vague peeks out, takes a bit of damage. The shot does not land. And they have the lockdown available. They also have a Hunter's Fury on this retake, but is it worth it in the 3 versus 5? I think not, because even if you use it, you're still likely to lose this round, and Sigmund just solidifies that. Vague gets one to go, but I think that's got to be it. You have the operator. You do not want to give OU the operator if you do not have to, but I don't think they have a choice, as Solid has the shot but is not able to land it, and Vague will get away. This will go down as a save for the WKNK side, but Koji's not able to get away. They're only able to save the op.
Well, it is the most important weapon,
This is true.
expense-wise. And, I mean, hey, look, in the hands of Vague, we've seen what Vague's already been able to do. I'd call that an important one to get away with. That being said, Mind, talking about a guy we discussed in the pre-show, this is where I think, see their impact felt. That's just a double kill. Multiple times we've seen some aggression out towards the A site, and it's found some success for the defense of WKNK. This time, Mind in position to stop it entirely.
0 point goes out, and the presence is detected. Falcon, they know where he is, at least in the general area, and Falcon going to relocate off of that. I really like this mid-aggression from this attack. So much pressure put near mid. They know exactly where they want to go. Falcon decides to double dip back at mid, and they're able to get that frag. I don't know if they know that Vague is there. Vague completely misses. Unbelievable, and that's B-side given up completely. Toon looks to at least hold off for a little bit longer with the Hunter's Fury, but that's all they have, and that's all she wrote. The retake has to come in.
Honestly, Toon, a little bit preemptive with that Hunter's Fury. Ends up getting a kill, but doesn't deny the plant, so it wasn't even time for that to come through.
Oh, look at the flank. Look at the flank.
Yeah, this is... should have been done and dusted, but Mind with a rare whiff, a massive adjustment required, and doesn't go forward. It's Toon to get another. Gonna need the final frag of this round, though, from the back of Boathouse. It's the reload off, pushes, and Mazkumi delivers. Once again, a 1v1 for the ever-present Mazkumi on this Ayun squad.
Great stuff. Mind, we're not going to talk about it. You know? We're not going to talk about it. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Everybody's done it. I know you've done it. I know I've done it. Everybody in chat has probably done it at least once, so that's okay. The round still ends in a dub. WKNK let this one slip away. They were given a fortunate opportunity off of the missed flank. However, they weren't able to finish it out. They got to a 1 versus 1, but however, that Sova was just a little bit better on it. So now they're starting to pick things up in a major, major way. They've got 2 in a row. See if they can continue this up, as look at how far Falcon's going.
It's not just that. It's the recon ball that showed 3 players here just a moment ago. Did we not flick to get the first shot? It's a trade, and apparently that's going to be all good for the defense of WKNK. They're down to allow that to be the case, and then they evacuate the place. A site relatively open for business. There's still utility waiting there, but not before the attackers can get onto site and get into position. Play up against this retake. There's a Hunter's Fury, and that can be a counter to what I think we're about to see is the lockdown.
Here comes out, and that's going to be the denial. Vague runs through it. They don't check the angle. Vague!
No!
Are you kidding me? Vague has been so consistent the entire game so far, and they just whiffed the easiest shot we have seen of the entire map, and that is another round for Oyun. And man, oh man, that's another one.
And I don't even know if you could call it like a whiff. He just thought he killed him. He just thought he had the kill. He thought he had it, and instead it just didn't connect. So he turned away, and you know, props to not Flick for being able to get back in there and be so quick with the reaction. I was looking the other direction, but still 6-3. Things starting to fall apart a little bit here. 3 rounds in a row, thanks to, I mean, one guy by the name of Vague. Really dominated, had a triple kill, a quad kill in that. Now, Oyun finding their footing once again.
Look to push up through tree. Dutch can't land any shots. Eye solid. Doing it again. Pushing through. The shorty is good for one. Sigmund goes down as the jet battle won out by the defense yet again. Pushing through, Falcon is able to get one, but only one. Vague is still a problem on site with this shorty. It is a 1 versus 2. At the moment, they pop out the Blade Storm. It completely misses, but Toon shot in the back. And just like that, WKNK is able to get back in the winner's column. That should stop the streak of Yoyun for now, but they need to finish out. I don't think they can afford to go into halftime anything less than 6-6.
Well, we shall see. I don't know what the attack side for WKNK looks like just yet, but what I do know is that picking up an advantage on the attack side of Ascent does typically mean a lot of positive things. It's just one round away from finding that in particular for Oyun. They're going to go back, essentially a repeat of the same strategy as we saw last round.
Which comes out, the paint shells should do a lot of damage. Yes, they're going to actually get a kill onto Solid. It's a complete trade, 1-for-1. The KO for the Rays. Oh, a huge whiff from Vague, and Dutch goes down as well. A big flick from Mind, and yet again, the side flip-flops, and the site is completely given over. And Oyun should have a 7th round in the bag. All they got to do is not let this Sova and KJ get this clutch up. But Mind is looking so aggressive. That dark cover is about to go down, and it's an easy headshot for them. And Koji left in the unwinnable situation.
I mean, at this point, it feels like you barely even should go for it, considering how monumental that task would have been. But the attempt falters, and a 7th round on the board for Oyun. It's 3 ultimates, though. There is that. Not the best of weaponry on a couple of players, but I saw an operator. There's vandals on others. It's not all bad for WKNK. They don't get out of this one unscathed, but they do find a way to have some serious impact in this round with the weaponry that they have and that showstopper.
I think they're going to have to rely on that op. Those first engagements from Falcon have to be perfect if they want to somehow find a way to get this round back. And the first one is good. It's Vague on the op, taking down iSolid. And there's the Cloudburst. Shots coming out. Koji has to fall back. Paranoia. And this might be the end of their life. Down goes the door. Koji ring around the Rosie, not able to get away. And there's the neural theft. Big piece of information given over. Showstopper's only good for 1. Dutch gets taken down. Vague has yet another kill, slided away in the back pocket. And down goes Vague, and also Toon. Mind gets a 3K to end the half.
It's 2 3Ks in a row to complete the half of the first half rather of this one on Ascent for Mind. Fantastic to see them just jumping into the action and finding such a dominant couple of rounds, living up to the hype that we gave to him when it came to getting them back and into that Lotus game yesterday. Pistol round is coming up. 8-4, it's not the worst. It isn't great, but it's not terrible either. I think that at the moment, there is a chance to see WKNK just bring this back quickly as it fell away.
I think the word to describe this for WKNK would be bad but manageable. Like you said, it's not good, but it's also not terrible. 9-3 or less would be terrible, but I think this is bad, but it's definitely manageable. As the first couple of engages come out, mainly it's just the one over at A. Mind has the reach frag onto Vague, and look at Sigmund, close range with the Frenzy, too good. Pretty cheap weapon, but hey, it can do a bit of damage if you know exactly where you need to be. Headshot from the Sheriff, and that swings the momentum right back in WKNK's favor. But on the other side, Mazkumi takes down the Sentinel. Now a site has to be in the running, but look at Flick playing perfect placement. Double kill! And pistol round goes to Oyun. And Vincent, I think now I'm going to say we're starting to reach that terrible threshold. Things are getting out of hand.
It's getting dicey, that's for sure. I mean, 2 pistol rounds as well in the same game is always going to be a positive for Oyun. But I'm wondering if there's going to be any crazy force buying attempts. No, not for this one. WKNK will keep it reasonable. They'll stay grouped. And over towards the A site as well. Remember that Sheriff in the last round. It was good. There's a bunch of them now. Dutch is the one to deliver. Flash gets so much damage onto so many players, but doesn't get a kill. That's devastating for iSolid. 1 shot and 1 kill for Sigmund.
As well as another one there with the Outlaw, and I know that KO did not get a kill with it, but I mean that damage is not going to go to waste, as there is already a couple of kills with Not Flick from the backside, getting a double, leaving it all up to Dutch, and Dutch does not have a plan to get out of this one. That's double digits. Oyun looks so good.
And Oyun looked great when it comes to that recovery. I mean, this round could have gone so much worse. They lost both of the individual players on the site. They ended up getting nothing, actually. Neither pick up a frag. And so it's a 5-on-3 once they get to the site. The post plant activates at that number disadvantage, and yet Oyun were so quick to get back in. They didn't allow for WKNK to even get into post plant scenarios. They were just taking fights as soon as the spike was going down, and so that is fantastic to see. Understanding there from Oyun to just get up in front of the post plant, understanding the numbers disadvantage would have been a problem.
10-4, and I think this is where we start to use the term must-win rounds, because this is the bonus round. If you lose this round off of losing the first 2, then things are getting really dicey. We've known dicey, but this is a level of dicey that we are not familiar with. So WKNK has to find a way to make this one happen.
Well, first person they're going to have to deal with is Sigmund. I mean, this is ambitious to say the least, but yeah, as that smoke fades, scoped in, wrong place. Mind, very committed angle. There's still one more player here. They don't know. The flash does the damage, but it's just not enough. The Sheriff doesn't connect. Not Flick is not looking towards Dutch, who's had a explosive start to the second half.
They have 1 versus 3. The question is, do you save? I think maybe you have full health. You also only have an Ares, though, which is a pretty cheap gun. Maybe try to get 1, but don't go too far into it. But it's not even going to matter, as Dutch gets the 4K in the back pocket. Bonus round is 1 for them. And goodness, they needed it.
That they did. It's a next step, though, coming up for Oyun. And that's in a couple of different ways, right? I mean, you mentioned that that's a bonus round, and it all starts with Sigmund going down, thanks to being a bit too overzealous with the Outlaw. It's not going to be the case this round. Sigmund postured over towards mid. The first time in the half, we're going to see that mid control get activated very early.
Comes the push over to A site one more time. Leading out the charge is the Sova, or leading out the charge is actually the Raze with that paint shell. And it looks like they're just going to forfeit site. They don't want to try to contest this. They are very comfortable playing for this retake. As we go into a 5 versus 5 retake, full health for everybody on Oyun. Cannot say the same about the WKNK side. Couple of shots through the wall, and that puts down the Omen, falling into below heaven. Everybody on the WKNK side is forced into that spot. They're super split up, and I honestly like Oyun's chances.
Well, they're going to try and clear it out. 2 underneath heaven. Koji out in the open. Mind will get the first. It's Mind to continue. He's going to need the clutch. Vague up and through. It's the half. Tap once again off of that spike, and there's not enough time left in their pocket. Vague for the 3K will go down to the spike, but will stay in the running as the 6th round goes to WKNK. All of that starts with some fantastic defense of Falcon in tree. stalled out so much time. I saw it ends up going down, and it ultimately, it does get traded, but it just isn't fast enough. Big props to Falcon, who bought a ton of time.
2 in a row for WKNK, and it pushes OUN back into the eco land. As it's a lot of Buckies, it's a lot of Sheriffs as well. Not looking too good for OUN. It's not looking great for WKNK either, but it's definitely looking a little bit better. Sigmund and Falcon with the standoff of the year. I think they have a hunch that both of them are right there. I like Sigmund's chances in this choice. They push out 1 kill and a lot of damage done to the other. One shot through the wall, or through the smoke, and they don't know that Not Flick is still there, though. This has a lot of potential if they don't clear it out. Why would 2 players be at the same spot? As it's so close, yet so far.
Falling back out of this, though. Pushed up mid. Oh, the adjustments, they are there. Toon clears out 1. Mazkumi down. Mind will follow. This is great awareness. Keeping it very good.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a miscue. Misplay. Losing out on the Hunter's Fury is going to hurt you. At least you've kept everybody but 1 alive on this anti-eco. That'll make it a little better.
That's so unfortunate. Just a bit of overheating. Toon gets the flick and accidentally pops the Hunter's Fury. That one is a tragedy to see. And OUN, they got off to such a hot start. And I don't want to say it, but I'm seeing a bit of a pattern here.
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite as extreme.
Not quite as extreme, but
no.
I mean, 10-2, 10-4.
It does indeed seem a little bit different, though. The difference in dominance certainly is something to be speaking of. Lots of ultimates this round, though. There is that as a positive note for OUN. WKNK have put together a comeback already. They just need 3 more rounds to equalize it at 10. WKNK's attack will lead them back to Cat.
Solid holding that ever aggressive garden position. As Vey getting a couple of B-hops. 1 kill, 2 kill, nearly the 3rd one for Solid. But that is where they're stopped dead in their tracks. As the shock arrow goes out. Does not quite find its mark. Sigmund has an easy shot onto 1. And there they finally land it. And Koji is the last one left. They've got 1 kill. They've got a 2nd, but the 3rd one evades them. Scoreline 7-11 as OUN ends their slump.
3-round slump ended in style with Solid picking up that double kill. Maybe, I mean, you got a little too far forward. Tried to go for the 3rd, but those first 2 were beautiful. One after another, dealing with the jet dashing into his face as well. And it doesn't require any of the ultimates they had prepped and ready at the beginning of the round. So now they still have Blade Storm. They still have the potential for that Hunter's Fury. Speaking of a Blade Storm, though, there's one on the attacking side. And with the lacking money, it's a very important piece of utility and ultimate available for WKNK in this all-important round.
Very much so. This is the last round that WKNK will be able to buy up. If they win, they get a little bit more forgiveness. But if they lose, they have to go into the 12th round on at most a force buy, which is not where you want to be. And they know that. They're playing this super passive. They don't want to play too passive, but they also don't want to just push all in and everybody dies right off the spot. As the round matures, they look to favor A just a little bit more. We've seen B site be Cypher's Haven. Out goes the utility, and the push is sure to follow, but the beautiful denial for the null command.
Solid somehow gets away with a frag there. Hunter's Fury goes through. It's team kill. As Kumi ends up with a 2nd at the very least, so that's going to save them a little bit, but as this will expire.
Last player standing.
It's all up to Mazkumi. 1v3. Trying to tap left and right. A little bit chaotic. Seems to get an idea of this flank coming through from Koji, but Koji is quicker to the shot.
Man, oh man. I don't like blaming rounds off of like one mistake, and I'm not going to blame that round specifically on the mistake, but imagine if Mazkumi did not kill their teammate with the Hunter's Fury. It could have been a really, really good retake off of that, but unfortunately, they just completely missed. It could have been a lapse of judgment. It could have just been a complete whiff off of it. The world may never know, but you can't think too much about it. You just have to roll right off of it, and I think that's one of the reasons why they're calling this timeout here.
Yeah, I mean, whether that's, the case or not, getting a little bit of time to talk things over, especially when you have such a clear pathway to victory, right? It's just 2 rounds. You just need to find, look at it this way. Find one gimmick round and then win it against a anti-force buy, right? Things that you can do very easily, especially at this juncture. The money isn't exactly solid yet for the attackers here at WKNK. So, though they do have a showstopper in possession, could absolutely find a way to get grimy, find some space to work with. I don't think that we're going to see a buy, though, which understandable, but a little bit of a surprise, I think, for me, for OU.
Out comes the showstopper. It's good for 1. And A-Site forfeited up. This is completely theirs on the eco round as well. It looks like OU just has to forfeit this one. Best case scenario, they get a couple of extra frags. I don't see a world in which they are able to retake this. They decide to pop the Blade Storm. Okay. Falcon Akai instantly takes them down. But also the suicide with their own paint shells is a tragedy to see.
A little martyrdom right there. Onto themselves. That's a tough pill to swallow, but it's still a pretty much guaranteed round. 3-on-4. Like you mentioned, there's no utility, no weaponry really available. This is everybody getting out there just in time. They want to go down to the spike so that they get the maximum cash. And on the exit, Mind will even collect an additional frag.
That definitely helps out. The best case scenario, they were able to get that 1 frag. They didn't lose anybody, but they did unfortunately lose 1. But it's still all right. They get a chance to buy back up. They're not quite full just yet. There is one with still light shields, but it looks a lot better than it did in the last round. And WKNK is really starting to make a bank up. Honestly, WKNK has a huge chance to come back and get this dub.
That scoreline. Making the comeback. Solid. Wants to get a little bit of info. No, just got the 1 on the 0 point. We've expected a little bit more. It's a lockdown. Come in for the attackers. Haven't really found success. Have WKNK on this. And, the timing from mine couldn't have been better. But the refrag from Falcon is swift as you like. Solid. Picks up 1. Another one before he goes down. And Not Flick is already there with Mazkumi inside of the smoke. 3-on-2. About to be up to a 12th round for this Oyun squad. And love how they've backed up. Just waiting for the plant to come down. The plant delayed slightly.
Spike planted.
Flank coming in. The door is closed, and again, like this decision from Sigmund. Just going for the rifle instead. Might go back to pick up the operator, but regardless, here they come. Tune ripped his head off. Falcon will get the first. They're going to drop together. Need to deal with them, and yes, the double swing is exactly what was required. Time aplenty for Mazkumi, who's yet another trade frag to close a 1v1 in the success of Oyun. Mazkumi has been incredibly stalwart for this team. been looking so very good.
Match point. It's only one more. OU just has to hold out for a little bit longer. They had a major lead going into the half with 8-4, and then they were able to win the pistol and the anti as well. But then tragedy struck. They let a lot of slipping go by, but they have the chance to close this out as soon as it started. It's 12-9. Match point right here, as Sigmund has a huge advantage with the operator, but they are forced back with the recon bolt. Does not help them at all. WKNK yet again playing very default, and Sigmund gets beat on the shot again. Falcon puts WKNK up by 1 in the manpower battle.
The response, though, losing space in one area of the map. They're pushing both extremities at the same time. Mind will trade for Ice Solid. Gotta connect these shots. Miskumi will do the better of the two. His Mind in the shadows back to Boathouse and doesn't stick it. Interesting.
I thought maybe they thought that they were already on the B site. That might go down as a mistake. Maybe they want to save the Vandal instead, and it was just kind of a late call. I don't know.
There is an opt-down somewhere.
It's a lot. That is true. Sigmund had the operator over at mid, but it's so close to the plant that Mind has got to risk his life to find it.
I think it'll be recoverable enough. I think that's it over towards Market at the doorway. And yeah, that'll be cleared out. You can grab that up if he wants to. Wants to be safe to start. I will say that as much as I do like the response to push the extremities of the map and try and find some additional space to work with off the back of losing one gunfight, I think that it was a little bit overkill in this last round coming through from Oyun. They're double pushing both A and B at the same time, and while on paper they can just get the kills, that's great. It also leaves them very exposed if they just can't even find the trades.
I need this.
Double match point. Oyun not quite as good as they looked in the last one. The economy's starting to slip yet again. But all they need to do is win one. This helps them out a lot. Makes things a lot easier when you think about it. But also, they might get hyper-focused on it. As sometimes it's so easy. All you got to do is win one. But you just can't get past that hump. That was a big reason why they let so many rounds slip by last night.
To be fair, I want to shift the focus of this conversation a little bit, too. I do think that, you know, as opposed to this being Oyun letting them back in, this has been a fantastic comeback overall for WKNK, and I think that they deserve a lot of the credit given this situation. So,
For sure.
I'm impressed.
Absolutely. Koji not checking the angle. That gives away a Vandal. And Ice Solid now has a big chance to make something out of this round. The push going to come in. Mind only has a classic. This looks really awkward for them. And off of the Hunter's Fury they could use. They decide not to. Mind falls back. Dutch gets a kill onto Maskumi. Don't know if they know that Mind is there. Playing it really close. The call comes out. They have one almost, but they're so low. 46 HP is all that Jet will survive with. And Ice Solid wants to try this. I mean, they got a Vandal. Do they really have to?
I mean, there's money for the next round. Might as well give it your best shot. Has the full kit of utility as well. So the fragment, the flash drives, one of those already put out, and the 0 point as well, still stuck in position. This is a little bit disjointed. Tossing bits and bobs of utility left and right. Here it goes. Oh, not going to be it. Dutch for another frag. Picking up their second of the round, if I'm not mistaken. It's down to the wire.
Yet again. Down to the wire yet again. The comeback is on. It has been on, and we are going to round 24 yet again. Oyun on the full buy. Same with WKNK. But the question is, overtime, yes or no? We saw the same thing happen yesterday on Lotus, Oyun versus UFC. That one ended up going into OT, but only for one round. Or only for 2 rounds, rather, one section. Let's see if they can do this again. WKNK has had a fantastic comeback on the helm. One more round, and they push us all the way into extra innings.
Already have a lot of command of the mid area of this map to WKNK. Got pretty much everything that they could want there. It's such a significant stack for Oyun towards the A site of this map. And as the time ticks down, they're going to evacuate that stack. Not quite leave everybody off of the A site, but they're going to start creeping back towards B, trying to gather back some mid control. The dark cover comes out in response to the jump spot. So with that, Oyun putting themselves 2 towards the B site now. It will be a B site hit by the look of things. Hunter's Fury and Showstopper for this potential hit.
I think Flick caught them with the spy cam dart.
30 seconds left.
You push all the way as out comes the utility. Through the wall is Flick. However, down goes Solid, and the null command gets completely evaporated as Mine pushes out. It's close. They've got the shot straight to the head. They're going to get this res off. This is going to be a one-man advantage, as there it is. Peeking out, headshot not found from Falcon, and there goes Falcon down. Eye Solid, really good look. Koji pushed back. Sigmund takes down Dutch, forced into the corner, and all they got to do is take their time. They've got one, but Sigmund ends us out. And every single round in regulation is used, but Oyun stays perfect.
And that is, for the first time, a WKNK understanding what a map loss looks like in this tournament. Down to that wire. And, I mean, again, WKNK making a phenomenal comeback. They really impressed me when it came to how consistently they were bringing that back. Dutch especially had a lot to provide. But you know what? The reality is that they kept it calm. Oyun, they played their own game. They didn't get too far ahead of themselves, and they didn't get distracted. Like you said, sometimes can happen. They were ready, and I think that they consistently put themselves in positions to win those rounds. A lot of the time, it was WKNK making the plays. Finally, they found themselves a space to work with on the B site.
Finally got one. The retake was good. The positioning was good, and the shots were even better. Sigmund getting that last frag to end it out. And I feel like we got to talk about Vague just a little bit. If you saw at the end on that scoreboard overlay that Vague was the top dog despite being on the losing team. Vague, incredible player, incredibly mechanically talented. The aim on that guy is kind of crazy, so definitely watch out for him going into this second matchup, or the second map of the matchup, rather, because they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
No doubt about it. I mean, I think that as impressive as Vague was, just to put it into context, numbers-wise, had 10 more frags than anyone else in the server. That's how dominant that they were. But as good as that was, I felt like they were a little hot and cold, right? It was amazing, triple kill, 4K type of rounds. And then you'd have a situation where there would be that one frag that you needed to hit that didn't quite go their way. So just a little bit more consistency required, as crazy as that is to say. I think for WKNK, and specifically I think for that double duelist composition, if you're going to be playing that double duelist, you have to see a little bit more. But that's just me. Regardless, I think an impressive showing, and especially when you consider this is Oyun's map pick.
Yeah, for sure. Lotus should hopefully be better for WKNK, and it has to be theirs if they want to extend this series on to map 3 and then send us to a grand finals. But that has to wait until after this break. Don't go anywhere, because we have more Valorant Oyun versus WKNK map 2 coming up after this.